Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen, the channel that brings you your team every single day, a channel that brings you your daily update on Rangers. If you need that daily update, guys, if you don't want to miss out on any of the latest content, then please make sure you hit that sub, ring that notification bell. It'll keep you up to date. You'll never miss out on any of the daily news videos, any of the other videos that break, the podcast, the live streams, all that content. And you know what? Unlike some of the channels, we do not charge you for any of that content. It is all free here. We believe that fans should be able to access their information and news on their team for nothing. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the MyJers Open training session that went on today and how somebody may have injured himself again. I'll let you guess who that is. We're also going to talk about Rangers' defensive woes and the fact that two players who were linked with the move from Rangers are now off the agenda. We've also got a Kilmarnock insight as well into the game this Saturday night or Saturday evening, as Kilmarnock's manager has been talking about his desire to upset the old firm. And we've got a little bit of information also, obviously, going on about Jose Cifuentes as well, that came out of what Michael Beale had to say after the open training session today. Well, let's start with some news about Rangers' defensive problems. Now, Rangers, obviously, a lot of fans and a lot of analysts alike think that there is an issue with the defence. Now, in pre-season, for me, only John Souttar came out with any real credit. I suppose you could argue, couldn't you? I suppose DeSean Sterling did well in that 20 minutes he was on. But overall, John Souttar is the only guy who's really come out with any credit. Yes, I know our defence looks wholly different when Connor Goldson is there. But realistically, the rest of the defence, and I'm going to include Tav in this. I'm working on a video about has Tav's time run out at the club in terms of his starting place in defence. You know, even he has been poor, and it does seem that, you know, like a lot of you have said, that teams have figured us out. You know, they put the ball diagonal over one of our fullbacks and they cause all sorts of panic and chaos at the back. Now, realistically, am I worried about some of the other teams in the SPFL? No, probably not. Europe, yes, I am. That lot from across the city, yes, I am, because, you know, at the end of the day, they're teams that are going to come and want to play us, want to have a go at us, whereas the majority of SPFL teams just want to play for a 1-0 defeat, don't they? And if they come away with a 1-0 defeat, it's like they've won the Champions League. But, you know, Rangers do have defensive worries. Now, there's been a number of players obviously linked with Rangers this summer. The majority of them have obviously been attacking players, but in terms of defensive players, there have been defensive links too. One such player was Charlie Cresswell from Leeds. Now, Charlie Cresswell, who is a very talented young defender, has come through the youth ranks at Leeds, spent last season on loan at Millwall. And as I said on yesterday's video, if you come through and do well at Millwall and you can win over Millwall fans, you're doing a pretty good job, because they're a pretty vicious bunch to try and win over. So, you know, he's a very good player. However, it appears that today that the chances of signing Cresswell have all but disappeared, with the news coming out of Leeds that Charlie Cresswell has signed a new long-term contract with the club. Now, Leeds, who are relegated to the Championship, obviously looking to get back as soon as is possible. And Charlie Cresswell, who has good Championship experience, is seen as being someone who can help Leeds to get back there. It was revealed today by the BBC and obviously by Leeds' website as well that he has signed a new 4-year contract. So that appears to write him off as a possible option for Rangers to sign, which for me is really, really bad. Not bad, but it's not great, because Cresswell is a good player. You know, he's a very talented player, reads the game well, scores goals. You know, is someone who has a lot of talent, and that is a concern for me. You know, a real concern that someone like Cresswell is now not an option for us. He is, like I said, a very good player, and someone who, to miss out on him is not great. You know, I would love to see him in a blue shirt, but now it looks like that one is off. Now, the other name that has been linked with Rangers is Austin Trusty, who is a USA international and has played for Arsenal, but spent the whole of last season on loan at Birmingham City, where he won the Supporters Player of the Year. As I said to you on the video yesterday, you know, if you win over the supporters don't tend to like bad players, and Trusty's certainly not a bad player. However, it appears that he is now off the market as well. Now, it was rumoured that Sheffield United were just trying to negotiate a loan deal for him, which didn't really fit in with what Arsenal wanted. Arsenal, who spent over 200 million this summer, need to become FPP, I think it is, FFP, Financial Fair Play compliant, and need to sell players. So a loan move would have been no good for them. So it seems now that that has now changed, and Sheffield United are paying $5 million, which is Arsenal's asking price, to secure the services of Austin Trusty. So it now appears that he too is off the market. Now, for me, missing out on Trusty and Cresswell is not great. I mean, obviously, I know with Cresswell, you've got a situation where Cresswell signed a new deal with his parent club. So obviously, they don't want to sell. So that's fair enough. But Austin Trusty, $5 million, I know it's a lot of money to pay, you know, for Rangers to spend. But look, if we could have spent it, it would be money well spent, I think. You know, at the end of the day, we've got a lot more to offer than Sheffield United. Sheffield United, who could very quickly return to the Championship after only one season in the Premier League. They've previously done it. Rangers, obviously, trophy lifts, European football, so much more to offer. You know, if we could have found that $5 million, then, you know, he would have been a very good asset. Someone who can play left side centre back, someone who can play left back, someone who is international, exceptionally talented. So who does that leave? Well, obviously, the main name that leaves is Jonathan Panzo, the Nottingham Forest defender here, pictured in that hideous Coventry shirt. Panzo is spent last season on loan at Coventry City, much to very mixed reviews from their fans. There were some fans that liked Panzo. There were a lot of other fans that thought he was a bit of a bomb scare, that he was very rash at times, that he made silly decisions and wasn't the best player. I mean, he is still young, don't get me wrong. He is only, I think he's 20 years old, so he has still got time for development. But what is it Rangers need? Do we need a development prospect at centre-half, or do we need someone who's going to come in and contend straight from the off? You know, realistically, if we're going to look at development prospects, we've got King, we've got Yefeko, you know, they have got McInnis. There's other players, young players, who can come through our system. So is it really worth spending £2.5 million on Panzo? Yes, Panzo perhaps has more first-team experience than those players I've mentioned, because he's played that season the Championship with Coventry, where he was average, I think is the best word. Rangers don't need average. Rangers need good. They need great. They need, look, realistically, like I've said in past videos, we're not going to be able to sign the Amoruso, Goff type players anymore. We haven't got that money anymore. We haven't got that money that those guys cost now. So Panzo obviously is one that has been previously linked with the club. He may still be on the radar. Personally, I don't really want to see him. I don't think he's a good option. Like I said, we've got Yefeko, who is not ready for first-team football. Got Leon King, who has played for first-team football and was back training today. More of that later. But, you know, they're development prospects as well. Why sign someone else who's a development prospect? To me, it doesn't make any sense. A player who would be a good buy, who has played a number of Championship games and again has been at Millwall and succeeded at Millwall, well, like I said, it's tough to succeed, is this guy here, someone called Jake Cooper. Now, Jake Cooper is a very talented central defender, good in the air, good from set pieces, tough tackling, is an out-and-out centre-back. He's not someone who can play full-back. That's not his way of playing. He's very much a centre-back. A few details about Jake Matthew Cooper. He was born in 1995. He's 28 years old. He's from Bracknell, England. He's 6'4". Well, actually, I think that's incorrect. He's actually about 6'7". So that's actually incorrect. He's 6'7", not 6'4". Believe me, I've seen him in real life. He is absolutely huge. He came through the youth system at Reading, went to Millwall on loan, and has since been at Millwall since 2017. He's made 285 appearances, scoring 21 goals. Like I said, he is a very experienced, quality central defender who, if you signed him, you know, could come straight into that first team. You know, he can play right side centre back. He can play left side centre back. He is multi-talented from that aspect. And to me, you know, yes, I know he can't play left back, but look, We've got Ridvan, we've got DeSean Sterling can play left back, we've got Adam Devine can play left back. Unfortunately, we've still got Borna Barisic at the club who can play left back. So there is, I think, there's 4 options there. For me, getting a top-class centre-half, someone who can dominate and organise that alongside Connor Goldson is an absolute must. If you had, say, Cooper, Goldson and Suter, you've got 3 top-class centre-backs, 3 very good centre-backs. I mean, whether they're absolutely top class in the same mold as some of the top EPL defenders, I don't know, but they are still very, very good defenders. Cooper, Goldson, and Suter would be great options at the back. So Jake Cooper would be a better option for me, but whether Rangers are interested in him, who knows? Who knows? He has been mentioned in a few media reports, but how true that is, I do not know. Now, with Michael Beale obviously still insisting we could bring in 1 or 2, and Barry Ferguson talking about it as well the other day, I think it is a real hope that any further players that are brought in to strengthen this team will be for defence and to strengthen the defensive area of the field. They have not been good enough at all at the back, and I include Tav in that, I include Bornham in that, I include everyone with the exception of John Suter, who for me has been absolutely fantastic this pre-season. Suter, I know it's going to be about keeping him fit. Hopefully, he's on that road to recovery now. He's on the right thing. They've seemingly found the underlying problem that was causing him all these injury concerns. So now hopefully he's in the right place to go on and play a number of games for Rangers. After all, I think he is superb, absolutely superb. But defensively, we do need to strengthen. Now, DeSean Sterling is someone who has caused a great deal of discussion. He's obviously missed a lot of pre-season due to that calf injury that he sustained. However, when he came on against Hoffenheim, he looked everything you want a fullback to look: solid, good at holding the line. First priority was to defend. First priority was to tackle. First priority was to get after the winger. First priority was to keep it solid at the back, which for me is what a fullback should do. Now, look, I get it. Tav scores goals. Tav creates assists. Borna has assists. Okay. But first and foremost, those guys are there to defend. Okay. They're there to keep goals out. Unless we're going out with the intention of winning 7-6 and 8-5 and things like that, which is very exciting. Don't get me wrong. But defenders are there to defend first of all. And DeSean Sterling looks very much a natural defender rather than a attacker, which I think Borna Barisic and James Tavernier look far more capable going forward. Borna, for example, never tackles. He never cuts out crosses. He does look very, very poor in defence. James Tavernier, I think, again, he's lost a step. He's not the same player. He doesn't get back as well as he used to. And I think DeSean Sterling is a real prospect now to come in and hopefully fight for that place. And I hope DeSean's given the chance to actually fight for the place and, have a chance to play right back for Rangers this season. So that is definitely one I would love to see possibly come off. I think, if you've got a defensive unit of Sterling, Goldson, Suter and Ridvan, you've got a pretty good defensive unit there with Jack Butland behind them, organising them. With the organisation of Goldson and Butland, I think you've got 2 very, very good senior pros there who can keep this defence together. And I think that would look a whole lot better, especially if you drop Ryan Jack in front of them to defend them. Okay, so let's talk about the MyJers Open training session that was finished off with Ecuador booming across the Rangers PA system. Obviously, Michael Beale as well interviewed said that he hoped that Cifuentes will be arriving in the next 48 hours and told fans to watch the arrivals gate at Glasgow Airport. No doubt some fans will now be camped down there waiting for the arrival through passport control and through customs of Jose Cifuentes, with nothing to declare but that he is a fantastic footballer. Some great shots from the open training session today as fans and players got involved. There's Danilo Pereira, the new signing, getting involved with the fans. Obviously, huge hopes for Danilo going forward into this season, that he can be that spark up front and really, create something and create for others. Kieran Dowell, who's been one of the top players in pre-season as well, was very popular with the fans. There he is meeting lots of the young fans who obviously stole the show. You've got Todd Cantwell as well, obviously, who's always Mr. Popular with the fans after last season, having photographs taken with some young fans and young admirers, no doubt there. Again, a fantastic experience for the fans to meet the players, to see the players train, and some interesting things came out of that game. You know, the 10v10 game, there was an interesting team selection for the first team. Cantwell not playing with the first team on this occasion. You know, is that a bit of a hint to Saturday, or you know, maybe once that it's 11 aside, Cantwell is in there. Also from today, it was good to see Connor Goldson back training with the boys, not taking part in the 10v10 game, but Leon King was also back as well. There he is closing down Searle Dessers. Leon King's injury nowhere near as bad as first feared. And it's great to see Leon back in practice and back in training. Having those two central defenders back will be a major boost for Rangers, particularly having Connor back. Arriving with all that pomp and fireworks that Connor normally associates with Connor coming back into the team. Someone else who took part in the training session today was this man, Kemar Roof, and fans obviously loved seeing Kemar train because Kemar has missed a lot of time, hasn't he? You know, Kemar is someone who his injuries really held back his career. Is that Kemar is injured again. Now, apparently, he injured himself in this training session. How true that is, I don't know. Whether that actually is the case, I don't know yet. But it's been tweeted out by a number of other podcasts, by a number of fans, and by a number of media sources, all saying that Roof is injured again. Now, if this is the case, it is just a very sad state of affairs, and it does appear that operation just didn't work, and Kemar Roof is in fact made of glass, and he just has to knock himself slightly, and that's it. He is out. No actual firming up from the club yet. I'm sure we'll hear in the next coming few days what the situation is, particularly obviously going into the game against Killie on Saturday. But worrying nonetheless. You know, as Kemar looked good and looked sharp in pre-season practices, and there was big hopes for Kemar coming back this year that he could perhaps, you know, form a decent partnership with someone like Dessers or Danilo, or come off the bench and affect Rangers games. But it now looks like he is injured again. Now, that obviously, like I said, is just a rumour, but who knows? You know what happens? A lot of these injury rumours suddenly become true, and then we're all saying, oh my God, not him again, which, you know, is a bit of a problem. Well, quite a lot of a problem, really. Really is a lot of a problem. Now, 3 players did miss training today. They were Ben Davis, Glenn Kamara even, and Fashion Sakala. Now, like I said on the short that I released earlier, where is Fashion Sakala? Is it that he's ill? You know, like was he one of the ones that had the sick bug? Or is it in fact that he's off trying to find a new club for himself after rumours emerged over the weekend that Fashion had been told that he could leave Rangers after a £4 million bid from a Saudi club was rejected by Fashion and his people, believingly over religious grounds. Ben Davis was also missing. Many people think this was just because he is still recovering from illness. And Glenn Kamara, well, we all know why he is missing. He's training on his own, as he is a long way behind the rest of the squad when it comes to the development of this squad. Okay, so let's just think about that for a moment. Look, Fashion. People say, well, wouldn't you rather sell Matondo first? Well, yeah, I would, but do people really want Matondo? You know, if you've got a club that wants to come and buy one of that sort of hybrid winger striker type players, who are they going to want? Sakala, who's got better numbers, or Matondo, who's been genuinely awful? So I think there is a possibility that there is a truth in the rumour that Sakala could be up for sale. I know a lot of people don't want him to go, and a lot of people see him as a good squad player. Personally, I think he could be a good squad player. I don't think he's a starter. He's not the player that's going to win you leagues, win you cups, and have you contending. But he is going to be someone I think you could have an impact off the bench. But Rangers do need to trim their squad down. It is way too big at this moment in time. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit of what Kilmarnock manager Derek McInnis has been saying in the build-up to the game on Saturday. McInnis apparently is desperate to cause an old firm upset after his team didn't manage to upset either us or that lot from across the city once last season. You know, he's talked about the fact that he thinks that Rangers will have a bigger physical presence on Saturday than they've had previous, with all these big, tall, hybrid players that have been brought in, the likes of obviously Sterling and Dowell and Dessers and Danilo and players like that who are, you know, over 6 foot and much more physical. But Derek McInnis has talked about wanting to scratch the itch of getting an old firm victory, but we all still hope that he has that flea, you know, in him and all over him after Saturday. This is what he had to say. He said the benefit of the League Cup group stages, even though it comes too early for my liking, is that you're playing competitive football and we can get the benefit of it going into these games when other clubs have yet to play competitively. The clubs that are in Europe have only been playing friendly so far, so that's maybe a slight advantage that we have. We have got a lot of players that are ready and up to speed. They have done the minutes and they've done the yards. There's a few others that are still playing catch-up at this stage of the season. There is no negative of playing Rangers. I think it's a great opening fixture for us. It's clearly a tough game. We found Rangers tough last season. We lost the game at home 3-2. We had our moments in the game, but when Rangers had a good spell, they punished us. We beat every team in the Premiership last season apart from Rangers and Celtic. So we know what we are capable of, and we've got to try and demonstrate our capabilities of getting a result against the best 2 teams. It's important that we have the confidence and personality on Saturday to try and do exactly that. It's an itch that we need to scratch and overcome. The fact that we never took any points off Rangers or Celtic last season. We expect a tough game on Saturday, and it's important that Rangers get a tough game as well. So I think it's what we all know, you know, that Kilmarnock will be up, they'll be fired up for this game, they'll be ready to go for this game, they'll be wanting to get in our faces, cause us as much trouble as possible. Now, the big worry for Rangers is that how much more of this team gelled over this week. I think that's one thing that's always going to be a concern when you bring in 9 new players this summer, 11 altogether since January. You've got a gelling problem. You've got a situation where it's going to take time to gel the team together, to get the team comfortable in the system and comfortable within working together. And that's the worry. You know, it may be a case that we have to have a workman-like battling performance and some great results over these first couple of games as the team bed in, and that then we suddenly take off. But if that's what it has to be, that's what it has to be. You know, any sort of win against Kilmarnock will do. Yes, I'd love it to be a free-flowing attacking performance and a 3-4-0 win. Realistically, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a fight. They're going to be up for it. You know, we've got to go out there and show that we're up for it. And hope this team have gelled to a greater extent through what's been done this week after the Hoffenheim game. Well, guys, obviously we'll be back throughout the week with daily news updates and videos about the team. Friday morning preview as well here live on the channel. Please come and join me for that. If you've enjoyed the content, please smash that sub, ring that notification bell so that you never, ever miss out, and help us on our mission to get to 3K subs by the end of August. Well, as always, I need you to do 2 things for me, guys. Smash the like, and remember always, we are the people.